We'll get started. Pretty good turnout today. I think over 600 people and still joining. So thank you all for joining today. It's really an honor that all of you have joined on a Saturday afternoon to learn more about MProfit and how you can use it and make the most of it. This is our first ever webinar. We haven't done something like this before, but we have received requests from a lot of existing customers and that to have some session like this so that we can explain more about the product, how to use it properly, and how you can make the most of it. So this is going to be the first in a series of webinars, hopefully, that we are going to do. Today the webinar's focus, if we can move to the next slide. Today the webinar's focus is going to be threefold. So firstly, we want to show you how to correctly use MProfit to manage all your investments, stocks, mutual funds, bonds, fixed deposits, and more. Secondly, we want to show you the kind of reporting insights that you can get from MProfit, such as your XIRR and your capital gains. And thirdly, this is something for current existing customers and even people who want to learn how to automate MProfit more. We'll be sharing some best practices and automations that you should be using in MProfit to make sure that you're optimizing your time spent on the platform. So it's a threefold purpose today, and I think we can get started with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen now, and I'm going to share the MProfit application. And before I start, talking about the application itself and the specific features, I want to talk a little bit about the different pain points that people face and why MProfit is relevant today. Great. So I hope everyone can see my screen now. Yeah, coming back to the pain points. So the main reason why the main pain point people face is that they're unable to aggregate their investments in one place. You have investments across multiple different asset classes, such as stocks, mutual funds, bonds, NPS, PPF, PMS, AIF. You also have data across different brokers. You'll be trading with Upstox, Zerodha, Motilal, ICICI. And another big problem is that you will have investments not just for yourself, but for your entire family. So the main premise here is that you need to have a platform that can consolidate all your investments in one place, across brokers, across asset classes, and for your entire family in one place. That is the basic problem statement MProfit is addressing. And that is why many of you are looking at MProfit and evaluating it as a solution for your portfolio management. But today I wanted to share a little bit more about the problem areas. A lot of people ask that why do we need to import your contract notes and your trade details and very detailed transaction level details into MProfit. There are probably other platforms that are just aggregating holdings across brokers, using API and giving you your portfolio snapshot in one place. And that is something we wanted to address today. The reason MProfit is different is because MProfit allows you to actually import transaction level details and not just holding level details. And why are transaction level details important? Transaction level details are extremely important because without them, you will not be able to get advanced performance insights such as your XIRR, your capital gains, and your PNL. So, the reason why MProfit is built in a certain way is so that it can provide you these reporting insights that otherwise would not be accessible to you across all your different investments. So XIRR is something which, everyone is talking about and everyone wants to use it to track their portfolio performance. And for XIRR, you need to have your detailed transaction level details imported. And that is the reason why, and that is, I would say, the big differentiator between MProfit and other apps. We try to automate the import of different transactions to from a variety of different brokers and platforms. So today MProfit supports the direct import of trade details from over 700 different financial institutions. We support your contract notes, back office trade reports, mutual fund cash statements. We support NPS statements, PMS and AIF files as well. for direct import and auto import to MProfit. And we'll cover a little bit about this now. I will be showing you how this particular, how all of this works in MProfit, and hopefully this will be a useful session for you. Um, I think also one thing to note is that a lot of people are probably currently doing all of this manually, in spreadsheets or Excel. And the idea for MProfit is that, we are trying to provide you a platform that can eliminate the manual effort required from your side to do all of these things. So, without further ado, we'll jump straight into the product. Uh, as you can see on the screen, this is what the current MProfit app looks like. This is the summary screen view where you get a consolidated view of all your assets in one place. So here we have just created a sample demo family, and we've created two separate portfolios, Mr. Mehta, Mrs. Mehta. Under Mr. Mehta, you can see you have stocks, mutual funds, NPS, fixed deposits, traded bonds, and other assets already imported here. So this is just to give you an idea of what the summary screen looks like once you have your data imported. You can see that there are various different stocks, mutual funds, and other assets that are already present in the portfolio. You can see the various metrics that you need to track. The quantity and the average purchase price of each stock, the amount invested, of course, the current price, the today's gain, the unrealized gain, and the current value. And one thing to note is that if you hover over any particular asset or asset class in MProfit, you can also directly see the XIRR. XIRR, for those who don't know, is basically the annualized return. That is an important metric to use when you compare returns against other assets and other asset classes, because it normalizes your returns over time to a single year and provides you annualized performance reporting. So this is basically just the summary screen view. And to get to this stage, you obviously need to go through the import process in MProfit. Let's go and talk a little bit about import. So what we'll do is we'll cover the import process asset class wise, starting with stocks. So, obviously for stocks, you have a variety of different brokers. Most of you probably trade with a majority of the top 20 or top 30 brokers. And some of you have more than one broker accounts as well. And the problem statement is that I want to consolidate my accounts across different brokers and view the data in a consolidated fashion. And that's what MProfit can do. So for the purposes of this demo, we're going to show you the sample import of a Sher Khan back office trade file. Now, let me just talk a little bit about the process here. When you're a first-time user of MProfit, the way you would go about importing your data for stock transactions is you would first import a historical file. So let's say, for example, I go to the import window in MProfit and I want to, for the first time, import my historical stock transactions. So I'll go to stocks. I will select my broker. So let's say I want to select HDFC. And here you see the two options on the screen. You either want to import your historical or your daily file. It is very important the first time for you to import your historical transaction file. And why is that important? Because you need to bring your transactions from since inception till current date into MProfit, so you can see what your current portfolio valuation is. That is the basis of viewing your portfolio in MProfit. So you will go to the broker of your choice in MProfit and you will select the historical trade file template. Once the historical trade file is imported, and in this case, I'm going to import a HDFC Securities trade detail statement here. This is something you can get from the broker's back office. So if you are an HDFC Securities customer, you will be able to get your HDFC trade report from the HDFC online login. We have online guides for you that can guide you with the steps to request and download these files from your broker's back office. And secondly, one thing to also note is that if you are ever stuck in any of these processes, especially when it comes to onboarding your data to MProfit for a first time, you can definitely request a data onboarding session from our support team. They're very accessible. You can reach us at support@mprofit.in, or you can also set up a support session online for this, and our team will guide you through the initial onboarding process. See, we are aware that sometimes to bring your data into MProfit in the beginning, you need to know which is the right file for you to import, which is how to get it. These are certain steps which you need to learn And that is something that our team can dedicatedly help you with. Once you have figured that out and once your initial portfolio setup is done, MProfit becomes pretty automated by means of the automations that we will be now talking about. So coming back to the example here, we select the HDFC trade detail statement, which is the recommended template, and we go ahead and add it to our portfolio favorites. And what you will do here is you will go ahead and import and simply upload the trade detail statement to MProfit. This is something which you have already received from your broker's back office, from HDFC's back office. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to import a Sher Khan back office statement similarly. And for Sher Khan, I'm going to show you the same process. So I've clicked on Sher Khan trade listing back office file, which is the template selected for the Sher Khan historical file. And I will go and just simply upload the file here. This file contains my historical trades since inception till date for all the trades that I've done with Sher Khan. I will go ahead, I'll import the file. And once you have imported the file, it generates the mappings and it populates the data. So as you can see, once you have imported the data, this has imported the data to a family called Mehta, and the portfolio is Mr. Mehta. All of these transactions were imported to your portfolio from the HDFC, from the Sher Khan file to MProfit. And what I will do is I'll show you the family in which the data has been imported. So as you can see, the trades that I just imported from the Sher Khan file have been imported to this particular portfolio. Now that's the first step. You import the historical trade details. To talk about after the historical import is done, the next step while using MProfit is to check if you have any IPO or buyback transactions. And once you have done that, you can simply upload those transactions to MProfit to make sure that there are any transactions outside of your trade details that are not imported. You can account for them. After your transactions are imported, your historical transactions are imported, the next step would be to apply your corporate actions. And this is something which many of you probably know, but many of you who don't know why corporate actions need to be imported separately. Corporate actions are important because they are not firstly provided in your broker's back office file. So your dividends, splits, mergers, demergers, and bonus transactions, they have to be accounted for separately. And typically what we have observed is that when people are managing their portfolios manually, corporate actions is something that they have to be manually adjusted, and you have to adjust the quantities separately. You have to compute your capital gains manually, adjusting for these corporate actions. And this is something that MProfit has tried to automate, and we have over time built several automations to completely automate the corporate action process. So let us just talk a little bit about how to automate your corporate actions in MProfit. The most recent update to the corporate action process that we've launched is the auto corporate actions feature. For any particular family where you want to apply bonuses, splits, mergers, demergers, and dividends, you can go to actions. You can go to, sorry, this is in the group portfolio. You can go to actions. You can click auto corporate actions, and you can apply the corporate actions since the beginning for your entire family. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply corporate actions just all at once for this particular family. And this is a background process that generates and applies all the corporate actions to your portfolio that were applicable at any given point of time. So as you can see, MProfit has applied all the mergers, demergers, bonuses, splits, and other transactions that were applicable to this particular portfolio, this particular family. A couple of famous corporate actions that you guys probably can see is the Reliance Industries demerger into Jio. So you can see that has been accounted for. Similarly, the HDFC Limited merger with HDFC Bank has also been accounted for. So you can see that as well. And you simply click continue. So in essence, in a couple of clicks, you have automated the import of all your corporate actions to your portfolio. These corporate actions will be adjusted while computing the closing balances of your current portfolio. You will be able to see your current holdings reflect the accurate quantities after adjusting the corporate actions, and also your capital gains and your IRR will be adjusted accordingly after the corporate actions have been accounted for. So that is, in a nutshell, the process to import your and make sure that your transactions since inception till date have been accounted for in MProfit. It's a one-time step for each broker that you wish to set up, and we have tried to automate it as far as possible. I'm sure many of you are aware that we've launched a Zerodha API, which can directly just sync your trades from your Zerodha console account. So that is something which is an API, is a further automation that we're providing for historical trade importing. But there are certain brokers, I would say a large majority of brokers, where APIs are still not available. So what we recommend is importing the historical trade files by downloading them from the broker's online login and then importing them to MProfit. Once you have uploaded your historical trades to MProfit and your balances are tallying with what your broker is providing, the next step would be to ensure in MProfit that your ongoing future trades remain updated. You have set up data till today, but tomorrow, day after, and beyond, you will be making more trades, and you need to make sure that you are importing your trades on a regular basis. Now, MProfit, we don't recommend you importing your historical trade file each time. What we have done is we have provided a simple auto import process for this. So let's say that I have imported my Sherkhan back office trade file already. I would like to now set up auto import for my daily trades that come in via the daily contract note file. So in MProfit, we provided a daily auto import feature, and how that works is basically it allows you to set up a forwarding rule in your email inbox that can simply forward the file from your email, the contract note file from your email to your MProfit account. And the way MProfit works is we do not take any access of your account, of your email account by any means. Simply the forwarding rule that you set up in your email inbox will only forward that particular contract note file to your MProfit account on a daily basis. So it's a one-time setup that you need to do. And once you've done that setup, you will be able to make sure that your daily contract note file will be forwarded to MProfit on a daily basis, and you'll be able to simply track your portfolios every day with the latest valuation updated. So I'll just quickly show you how the auto import setup works. You simply add the Sherkhan daily CN, the daily contract note template from by searching for it, and here I've already added it. Once I've added it, I click auto import. I click auto import, and once I click auto import, MProfit will ask you which email client do I use. So typically most of you use Gmail. So you can click Gmail, and once you have clicked Gmail, you can see that MProfit provides you detailed steps on how to set up auto import. Many of you might be familiar with how to set up forwarding rules in Gmail, so it's a fairly straightforward process if you do. But if you don't know how to set up the forwarding rule in Gmail, we have provided a stepwise guide in the app itself where you can simply click next and you can see the steps on the screen. But you have to make sure that you set up the forwarding rule to this particular email address. You will see a unique email address on your screen. Everyone has a unique email address for each broker import that they're trying to set up an auto import for. And you will be able to set up the forwarding rule for this particular auto import by following the steps on the screen. So once you have set up your forwarding rule, your daily contract note file will start getting forwarded to MProfit. Your data will start being imported to MProfit, and your portfolio will always remain updated. So this is a feature which has worked very well for a lot of customers. We've gotten very good feedback about it over the past few years, ever since MProfit Cloud is launched. And that, in a nutshell, is the import process in MProfit for stocks. Now coming to the reporting insights here. So what you can do is you can track your XIRR by just hovering on the portfolio and seeing on the current value of any particular asset class, or the net worth to see the overall portfolio for the entire portfolio. We provide you both XIRR with and without zero holdings. So XIRR with zero holdings will include all your assets since inception till date. XIRR without zero holdings will only include your active assets that are currently in your portfolio. Outside of XIRR, MProfit obviously provides you your capital gain reporting insights. You all would have filed your ITR right now, and you would have had to generate the capital gain report. And in MProfit, we provide capital gains, in income tax return format that account for all the latest ITR guidelines, such as your long-term capital gain grandfathering, which was introduced a couple of years ago, that make sure that your capital gains are grandfathered after 31st January 2018. So if you're using MProfit, you don't need to worry about these nuances about calculating them manually. You can just simply generate a capital gain report and see that your capital gains have been automatically calculated. So this is just a sample capital gain report from MProfit. As you can see, your capital gains are sorted intraday, short-term, and long-term, and you'll be able to see various details such as your ISIN code. You'll be able to see your fair market value for your long-term capital gains on 31st January 2018, and that will tell you what your true cost of acquisition and acquisition cost was, cost of acquisition price and acquisition cost was. And you will see your capital gains that are grandfathered as well. Tanmay, if you wanted to just talk a little bit about how MProfit accounts for the capital gains with the corporate actions, I can let you talk about that if you want to.
Yeah, sure. So all the capital gains are basically considering all the corporate actions. So you must be aware that Atik just showed you about HDFC Limited to HDFC Bank merger, as well as recently there was Reliance to Jio demerger as well. So as you can see on the summary on the screen, Reliance Industries demerger with the auto corporate action feed, it got automatically recorded. And Atik, can you scroll down a bit?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can see Reliance Industries, the ratio got automatically adjusted for parent company, that is Reliance Industries, and for new stock Geo Financial Services, it also got automatically it added the amount. So now if you sell this particular Reliance Industries, the demerger entry will be taken care of in the capital gain report. So same goes for any corporate actions, bonus, split, merger, demerger, dividend. Capital gains are properly handled in MProfit.
Yes. Thanks, Tanmay. So that covers capital gains for stocks. Similarly, even for bonuses and splits, MProfit properly make sure that your capital gains are adjusted for all the different bonuses and split entries that you must have added to MProfit. So that covers capital gains in a nutshell. Today, in the interest of time, we won't go into a lot of detail about each of the different reporting options that are available in MProfit, because we want to talk about other asset classes as well. So what we'll do is now we'll move on to just talking a little bit about ETFs first before we move on to mutual funds. Currently in MProfit, what you will see is ETFs are reported under the stocks category. That's because they are exchange traded and they come in with your contract notes. They come in with your historical trade files. So in this portfolio, you can see we have a few ETFs. So I'm just going to search for ETFs under the search assets, and you can see that you have a liquid ETF, a debt ETF. Then you have a Kotak Nifty ETF, which is an equity ETF, and you have a Motilal Oswal International ETF as well. One thing for you to note is that the capital gain implications for these ETFs are properly handled in MProfit. We provide you capital gain reports as per what IT is mandating. So, for example, if I was generating a capital gain report for my international ETF, you will see that it is reported accurately under the mutual fund debt category. And I'm going to just generate that report here to show you how that looks. So here, this is the mutual fund debt category report. Here, we don't have any other debt mutual funds. So the two assets you're seeing here are the Motilal Oswal Nasdaq 100 ETF and the DSP BlackRock Liquid ETF. The first is an international ETF. The second is a debt ETF. And both have the capital gains accurately accounted for as per mutual fund debt taxation. So even though they are reported under the stocks category currently in the summary screen, you're seeing that the capital gain is accurately provided under the debt mutual fund category. Similarly, you will see the same for the equity ETF. And moving on, we also do support the imports of REITs and InvITs. So here in this portfolio also, we have a couple of sample REIT assets here. You have the Embassy Office Parks REIT and the Mindspace Business Parks REIT. In MProfit, we have recently created a REIT and InvIT capital gain report also, because the taxation implications are a little different. For these assets, capital gain is 3 years and higher is long term, and less than 3 years is short term. So you can simply go to reports and go to InvITs and REITs and download this report for all your REIT and InvIT transactions separately. So they will not have the same implications as stocks. That's something which you should know. Couple of other things on capital gains we should talk about. in fact, more recent, a lot of you are probably familiar with the changes to the bonus stripping rule. Since the last budget, it has been mandated that the bonus stripping benefit that people could avail previously on offsetting the capital gains has now been discontinued. If you need more details on this, you can definitely look online. That bonus stripping, the rule has changed starting the budget 2022. But that is in effect for financial year 2023. Uh, beyond bonus stripping, also something for everyone to also note is that capital gains on buybacks are not taxable. So if there are any buyback transactions that you have added to MProfit, they will not be subject to capital gains. So that covers largely equity as a category, stocks as a category. We talked about the import processes, we talked about the capital gains, we talked about XIRR, and we'll now move on to mutual funds and how you can import mutual funds to MProfit. With regards to mutual funds, the most common question we get is, which statement should I use to import my data for mutual funds? Should I use the CAMS online CAS? Should I use the NSDL ECAS? Should I use the CDSL ECAS? That is a common confusion point for a lot of people. And today we wanted to take the opportunity to clear that confusion completely. The single file that you should be using when it comes to MProfit to import your historical transactions for mutual funds is your CAMS online CAS statement. The reason why is because the CAMS online CAS statement is the one file that provides you your historical trades since the start till date for all the folios that are serviced both by CAMS and Carvi registrars. So if you request the file from CAMS online, your CAS file, your PDF CAS file, you can generate that file, they'll email it to you, and you can simply go ahead and import that file to MProfit. The way you would do this is you would click on add an import template. You'd select mutual funds as your investment type. And there are two options here: either request my CAS statement or I already have a CAS statement. If you already have your CAS statement, you can just go ahead and upload it. But many of you might not be aware of how to request this CAS statement from CAMS Online. And for that particular reason, we have provided an in-app guide for you to go to the CAMS Online website and follow the steps to request your CAS. Once the CAS has been sent to you via email, you can go ahead and upload the CAS to MProfit. So here in this case, what we will do is we will simply show you how the CAS statement is imported. Once you have, this is a sample CAS for your reference. This is a sample CAS, which you can see. This is something that CAMS will provide you in by email. It will be password protected. And the first time you import it to MProfit, you will have to enter the password. And then MProfit will save that password so that for future imports, you don't need to enter the same password again. So this contains all your transactions, folio wise, scheme wise, and you will be able to upload this PDF file directly to MProfit. So I am not going to, in the interest of time, show you the actual import, but once you do import your file, you will see that your mutual fund transactions are populated under your summary screen in the mutual fund, equity, and debt category, depending on where the mutual funds actually fall. You will again be able to track your XIRR for every mutual fund asset by hovering. And we also provide XIRR reports. So we'll just talk a little bit about that at the end of this webinar. But you'll be able to see all the other metrics on the screen as well, such as the current price, which MProfit provides you daily NAVs for mutual funds. So you'll be able to see what the current price is, what the today's gain and what the unrealized gain is. Similarly, for your capital gains, you will be able to go to the report section and generate the capital gain report in ITR format for mutual funds, equity and debt separately. We talked a little bit about that for ETFs, but similarly, you will also get the same reports for mutual funds. Debt mutual funds have to be currently, they have to be indexed as per the latest CII numbers. Equity mutual funds, again, they do have grandfathering implications. So both of these are handled properly in MProfit. And you can see a sample mutual fund, sample capital gain report here, which is again sorted by intraday, short term, and long term. A lot of you also will be aware that the capital gain guidelines are changing from this current financial year, where you will have to make sure that for equity, debt, and hybrid funds, if each of these different categories have different nuances when it comes to computing capital gains. We're currently working on that, and MProfit for financial year 24 and onwards, you will definitely be able to make sure that your capital gains are properly adhering to the latest guidelines for equity, debt, and hybrid funds. So that will be supported soon. So that covers your import of mutual fund data from inception till date, and we have also covered the capital gain piece of it. The one question which a lot of people have is, how do I make sure that my mutual fund portfolio remains up to date? For stocks, I have a daily contract note file which I can always forward using the auto import feature in MProfit. How do I similarly set up a similar auto import for mutual funds? So there are two ways to go about this. We mentioned the NSDL or the CDSL ECAS file. So, I can go to import and what I can do is I can add the NSDL ECAS transaction template to my favorites. And I can set up an auto import rule for this particular file. Now, the one thing to note about the NSDL or the CDSL ECAS is that it only provides you monthly transactions. So you will only get transaction details for a single month in a monthly file. So once you have imported your historical transactions since inception till date, you can set up an auto import rule for the NSDL ECAS. It is different from the CAMS Online CAS file, but this NSDL ECAS comes to you in your email on a monthly basis. And if you set up auto import for this file, it will get forwarded to your MProfit account on a monthly basis. And this will make sure that your MProfit transactions for mutual funds are remaining updated monthly. So if you're doing SIPs monthly, you will make sure the NSDL ECAS auto import will make sure that your mutual fund portfolio stays up to date on a monthly basis. But many people are also probably doing more regular mutual fund trading, and you have a requirement to update your mutual fund more often. In that case, the simplest solution is currently to just request the CAMS online cash statement by following the steps that we have just shown you, and requesting the file only for a limited time period. So if you want to import last week's transactions, just generate the file for last week. It will email the last week's transaction file to you, and you will be able to upload it to MProfit and make sure that your portfolio stays up to date. An update here is that we are currently evaluating an API integration with MF Central, which is an initiative by CAMS, to automate the mutual fund transaction imports to MProfit even further. But we'll give you an update on this when we have a defined update here. But currently, the process to recap is you import your historical transactions using the CAMS Online CAS template, the CAMS Online CAS file. You can go to mutual funds. You can click request my cash statement. You can request your cash statement, and once you have it, you can simply upload the cash statement into the drop zone here on the screen, and that will import all your mutual fund transactions from the cash statement to make sure that your data until today is up to date. To make sure that your ongoing data is up to date in MProfit, you can do one of two things. Either you set up auto import for the NSDL or the CDSL ECAS transaction template in MProfit so that the monthly NSDL and CDSL CAS file gets forwarded to your MProfit account and the monthly trades get auto synced to MProfit. Or the second option is, if you want to import your mutual fund data more regularly, you can request the CAMS cash statement as often as you want to from their website and upload it to MProfit. There is no limitation in MProfit on how often you can request and upload your cash statement. So that is something which more frequent traders can definitely do. So that covers mutual funds after stocks. So we've covered two big categories here, stocks and mutual funds. Moving on to traded bonds now. Traded bonds are getting more popular as assets. And typically, you would also be noticing that your traded bond transactions come to you directly in contract notes and in back office trade reports. So when you're to upload and import your traded bond transactions to MProfit, you simply have to follow the same process that you follow for stocks. The historical trade file that you download from your broker's back office login will import your traded bond transactions as well. And similarly, the contract note file that you set up auto import for will also include your traded bond daily transactions. We in MProfit, we support daily prices for traded bonds for listed traded bonds in the capital market segment, and we also support sovereign gold bonds. And one thing to note here is that when you have imported your traded bonds, you will see sovereign gold bonds and regular listed bonds both under the same asset class. As you can see here, you will see the Indian Railways bond and the sovereign gold bond both under traded bond category. But one thing to note here from a capital gain standpoint is that the capital gain implications on both of these will be different. right? So on gold bonds, it's the long-term period is 3 years. On regular traded bonds, the long-term period is 1 year. And in MProfit, we've handled this automatically so that when you go and generate a capital gain report for traded bonds, you will be able to see the accurate capital gain implication as per whether it is a sovereign gold bond or whether it is a regular listed corporate bond. And the capital gains are again auto computed. Sovereign gold bonds have an indexation implication also, that also is automatically computed by MProfit. So I think in the interest of time today, that's all we'll cover about traded bonds. Tanmay, I think you can talk a little bit about the other asset classes now, FDs, NPS, and
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
Sure. Okay. So, as Atik covered stocks, mutual fund, and traded bonds, there are many other asset classes which you can manage and track in MProfit under your portfolios. So, some important asset classes are NPS, fixed deposit, then PPF, EPF. Uh, I quickly cover a couple of. So, NPS, National Pension Scheme, you can definitely manage it in MProfit. It's a two-step process basically. You can go to NSDL portal. You can download your historical NPS transactions in CSV format and directly import into MProfit. This is to get your past basically transactions into MProfit. Once that is done, second step is to automate this process. So NSDL basically send you monthly statement. It's a PDF statement which comes on a monthly basis in the email. Like Atik has explained you about setting up auto forward rule for your digital contract notes and for your mutual fund statements. Similarly for NPS also, you can set the auto forward rule, and as soon as you get the PDF ENPS statement, that can be automatically forwarded to MProfit, and monthly transactions, contribution and redemption details can be picked up in your portfolio. So your portfolio can be updated on a regular basis. So NPS can be definitely managed in MProfit. I think they have not started taking the questions yet, but I have seen the question by Mr. Saket Saraugi that how to import NPS in MProfit. So I think maybe we can quickly show one template which we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can just click on import and we can quickly show one template. Uh, yeah, so you can see the NPS NSDL Tier 1 transaction statement. So there are two types of statements, as I mentioned. There'll be two-step process to set up any ENPS or NPS account in MProfit. First step is you have to go to NSDL portal, download the historical transactions in CSV format, use this template, NPS NSDL Tier 1 transaction statement. You can directly import that CSV statement into MProfit. That will have all your historical transactions into MProfit. And then ongoing basis, you can do the auto forward setup for the PDF statements received in your email ID. So NSDL is basically sending monthly PDF statements, which contains monthly transactions. So those can be also directly imported into MProfit.
Yes.
So this is how NPS can be managed in MProfit. Similarly, you can manage fixed deposit as well. You can track everything. Like for fixed deposit, you can manage your maturity, your lock-in period, your interest rate, everything. We have a good report also available. I think you can show one FD report as well. And just for the information, not only NSDL, but we also support NPS statement from two registrars, that is CAMS and Carvi. Okay, so in case you have opened the account with them, you can download a statement from CAMS or Carvi, and that also basically supported in MProfit.
Yes, Tanmay, I will move on to the next section. I want to show the FD report, right?
Yes. So you can see that if you are managing, you can definitely manage all your fixed deposit as well as normal deposits also. Like if you have any post office schemes, even that also you can manage in MProfit. And you see a very clean report where you see a maturity date, what are the different FDs, reference number, interest type, whether it's a cumulative or payout, what is the interest rate, when the investment has started, principal amount and maturity amount. So it's a plain report you get from MProfit once you start managing and tracking your FDs as well.
And just for everyone's knowledge, if you have any questions about any of these assets, support team is definitely there to help especially when it comes to assets like NPS or PPF or FDs. If you need a little bit of guidance on how you can go about it, especially just to import your historical data, our team can definitely guide you and help you set up your MProfit portfolios. So please feel free to reach out to us at support@mprofit.in for the same. The last thing we'll just talk about is the overall XIRR feature. I think we talked about it. You can view the XIRR for your entire portfolio with and without zero holdings. And one more thing I would like to talk about is the family group feature. In MProfit, you can create custom groups that are combinations of different portfolios. And the default group that is created for all users in a family is the family group that consolidates holdings across all the different individual portfolios and reports your consolidated family holdings. So this is something which you can always use to track how your overall family portfolio is doing. You also get XIRR insights at the family level. So that is also something that MProfit does provide for those who actually want to use this feature. And I think this feature would be relevant to a majority of people here. Uh, and after we talked about that, I believe that we can just, Tanmay, quickly just talk for 2 minutes about the new features. Many of you know that we've launched our new analytics dashboards. Some of you have already signed up and tried them in beta. So, we're really thankful for the feedback that we've already started receiving. Some really encouraging feedback from a lot of you and a lot of very valuable suggestions on how we can further improve these dashboards. Today we won't be going into a lot of detail. We won't be going into any detail about the new features, because we're going to have a separate webinar about them, a training session on how to use the how to understand and use the new dashboards. So today, in the interest of time, we'll only talk about the current MProfit app, not the new MProfit dashboards. uh, but that's something which we're going to cover soon. But in the meantime, please do go to app.mprofit.in, and you can start logging in with your existing MProfit credentials to track additional insights. We've added features such as period-wise XIRR, which gives you your 1 year, 2 year, 5 year returns. We've added features such as benchmark comparison reporting, which will allow you to compare how your portfolio or how any particular asset is faring against popular market indices such as your Nifty or your Sensex. Or we've also added features such as sector-wise and market cap-wise views of your stock portfolio. So now you can see sector-wise breakdowns of your stocks. You can see market cap-wise breakdowns of your stocks. We've added leaderboard and watch list features as well. So you can now see what your top gainers and top losers are on any given day in your stock portfolio. You can add stocks to a watch list if you're tracking certain stocks. And we're also going to be updating and enhancing this a lot further. A lot of product development is coming to MProfit in the coming months and years. So, thank you so much for trying out the new dashboards. We've gotten a great response on the beta program. But for those who haven't still signed up, please do go to app.mprofit.in. Then you can just write down the link to the new beta dashboard so that people can start trying it out after the webinar also. And I think just a couple of vital, time savers, or certain features which some of our existing users might not be aware of is, you can go to import and track the status of all your completed imports in something called import log. So what you can do is you can click import, you can go to the import log, and that gives you a proper trail of all the files that you have previously imported. So these are all the files that have been imported to this particular MProfit account. You can see the details under the imported job for each particular import. So you can see what transactions were also imported. So if you're ever auditing your own data, you can always go and track and see exactly which files you've imported. In the pending log, if there are any files that have not been processed properly, you will see that in the pending log as well. So this is a very vital feature for you to use to make sure that you have imported all your data completely. Sometimes people do think that their data is not matching for some reason, and the import log is the perfect place to figure out if you have imported all your data or not. So just that's something to keep in mind. And I think one other feature which some people have asked about is with regards to auto import. If you are if your MProfit account is registered with a specific email ID, but you are receiving your files on a separate email ID, how do I forward the files to my MProfit account? In that case, let's say, for example, you have one email and you have a secondary email. You've registered for MProfit with a secondary email, but your primary email is where the broker is sending you the files. You can simply add an authorized email sender. in this case, you will add the email, the secondary email. And once you've done so, if you have any forwarding rules set up, the forwarding rule will forward the file from the secondary email as well. So that is just another trick which some of you can avail if you have multiple emails and you're receiving files on different emails. So I hope that is also helpful to some people. And that, I think, is the end of our webinar. We definitely wanted to keep some time for questions. So I think without further ado, we'll jump straight into questions. And I'm just going to stop sharing my screen here, and we'll just be broadcasting on the chat which questions we'll be answering. We've received a lot of questions, so we'll try to answer the most popular ones, the ones which we feel are questions that are posed by a lot of people. And then if there's more time, we can proceed to other questions as well. If you feel like at the end of this webinar your question was not answered, we're really sorry about that, and we really hope if you can just send us an email with that question. We'll be more than happy to reply to your question in the coming days. But we'll just answer the questions in terms of popularity for now. So I'm just going to open the list of questions now. So I think the first question is how to import NPS and MProfit. We have shared the guide here with you on how to download your historical NPS transaction statement from NSDL. You can import those files to MProfit using the right templates.
And I think I just want to add one more point here. So along with the statement import, it will definitely import all the transactions, but along with that, it will also import the current value as well. So once your monthly statements are auto forwarded to MProfit, your monthly transaction as well as current value of the NPS will be automatically updated in MProfit. So this will basically help you in seeing the XIRR properly for NPS asset. This is one important point which I missed earlier, but I'm just explaining now.
Right. Yes. So and once you have imported your historical transaction statement for NPS, as Tanmay explained previously, you will then go ahead and set up the auto import for the monthly NSDL transaction statement, and that will also include the current value. And so you will be able to make sure that you have your NPS data properly set up in MProfit. So that covers NPS. If you have more detailed questions about NPS, please do email us, and someone from our team will be happy to guide you with setting up your own NPS data. The next question is, what is the difference between the desktop version and the cloud version? That's another great question, and we'll definitely give you some context here. Our desktop application was our first application, launched many years ago. It was the older MProfit application, where the features were initially built out. In 2020, we launched MProfit Cloud, and that is a newer application with more automations. The auto corporate actions feature, the auto import feature, and certain additional automations that we have built are available on MProfit Cloud. It's our newer app. It is the app where we are focusing on all the new product developments. So anything new that comes to MProfit largely comes to MProfit Cloud and not MProfit Desktop. That being said, MProfit Desktop is also being used by many users, and we are definitely going to continue supporting it, for the foreseeable future. And one thing for desktop users to definitely note is that you can avail the new dashboards, the new analytics dashboards, by going to app.mprofit.in. If you have synced your data to the cloud, the cloud view facility that we have provided to desktop users, you will definitely be able to view your similar insights, your period-wise XIRR, your benchmark comparison reporting. All of that will also be available to desktop users who want to participate in the beta program. So that feature is definitely there for desktop users as well. But a lot of the automations, a lot of the new development, just because cloud is technologically different from desktop, will be coming to cloud and not be coming to desktop. So our recommendation for any new user is to definitely sign up for cloud and not the desktop. But definitely the desktop users can continue using it. Moving on, I wanted to answer the next question we've gotten is, how safe is storing our investment details in cloud? So great question again. At MProfit, we take data security and privacy very seriously. We have a tech team that is very mindful about these things. Your data is encrypted at rest and in transit. And we obviously use Microsoft Azure's cloud infrastructure, and we're following all of their best practices when it comes to data security and privacy. We also have provided you an option to set up two-factor authentication in your MProfit account. So by all means, definitely go ahead and set up 2FA in MProfit so that your login is doubly secure, and OTP will be sent to your email when you log in if you have set up two-factor authentication. MProfit has a proper rigorous backup protocol. All MProfit data is stored locally in India, including MProfit. The periodic backups that are taken are also stored in servers hosted in India. I hope that answers your question satisfactorily. Moving on to the next question. Can we use MProfit to track our bank account transactions? If not, what is the best way to manage it for multiple accounts? Will MProfit be launching this feature soon? This is a very great question, a very relevant question right now. We are also aware that a lot of Perfios users had been using Perfios to track their bank accounts, their debit credit entries in their bank account using Perfios' tool. And they have come to MProfit now asking if we have a similar feature for bank accounts. We have fast tracked this feature, and our tech team is currently working on deploying this feature as soon as possible. We will be launching a feature that allows you to automate bank statement imports to MProfit, from a variety of 20 to 30 different banks. And that is coming hopefully very soon. To confirm, it will not be exactly the same kind of implementation that Perfios has done, but you will definitely be able to upload and auto import your bank statements. So, and you will be able to track your bank details separately in MProfit Cloud as well. So that is coming to MProfit soon. Don't have a definitive timeline on this yet, but it is one of the high priority features we're working on. So you can expect it soon enough. The next question is, what if you don't have a Gmail account? That's another good question. If you don't have Gmail provides the best auto forwarding functionality. So we definitely recommend auto forwarding your transactions from a Gmail account if you do have access to one. However, Hotmail or Outlook also provides you a mechanism to auto forward your files or emails to MProfit just auto forward your files or emails, and you can use that to set up auto import and MProfit. In the application, when you go to the auto import window that we had shown you, you will see Gmail or Outlook as the second option, and then the third option is other. The other becomes a little tricky sometimes because the other email providers don't have defined guides on how to forward files for auto import. So our recommendation is either Gmail or Outlook for MProfit. If there are other email providers that you're using, you can ask the provider themselves how to set up the forwarding rules. And if you are able to do that, then definitely MProfit will be able to accept emails that you have forwarded by means of forwarding rules. But our recommendation is definitely Gmail and Outlook. And we showed you the authorized email sender feature where you can add additional emails as authorized email senders to your MProfit account also, so that if you're receiving files on a separate account, you can also forward them to MProfit, even though your registered email is different. If I have the same stock in two different demat accounts, when I sell, on which basis will the capital gain and loss be calculated? Is it based on FIFO, whoever the broker is, or will it be calculated on the broker's holding wise? So this is another good question about how MProfit calculates capital gains. Tanmay, do you want to answer it?
Yes. So basically, most of the clients, the way they are managing data in MProfit, they basically create single portfolio, manage multiple brokers' data into single portfolio. So in this case, we follow FIFO method as per date-wise thing. So it will be a date-wise FIFO method. So, and this is one way of managing the data where clients are creating single portfolio. You can call it as pan-wise portfolios. And if any particular client is dealing with multiple brokers, Motilal Oswal, Zerodha, Upstocks, they will import multiple brokers' data into single portfolio. So in that case, if you generate the capital gain report, it will be based on date-wise FIFO method. In case if someone wants to generate broker-wise reporting, then we recommend to create broker-wise portfolios. So in this second way is basically create 3 different portfolios. So for one PAN, you will create 3 different portfolios and import broker specific data into respective portfolios. So in that case, if you generate capital gain, that will be a broker wise capital gain. So there are 2 ways to manage data into MProfit.
Thanks, Tanmay.
Yeah.
So hope that answers your question, Rajesh ji. Moving on to the next question. How can we use the new feature of historical returns? We just explained that to sign up for the new features, you can access them at app.mprofit.in. You can log in with your existing MProfit credentials and start viewing your period-wise returns, your portfolio performance comparisons against different market indices, and several other features such as your sector-wise and market cap-wise views of your stock portfolio as well. So we are providing all of these features in the new analytics dashboards. A lot of new updates are also coming to these dashboards. They are still very much in beta. So we will definitely appreciate if you have any feedback or suggestions, and we are consolidating the feedback, and we're definitely going to review it properly while updating our dashboards. Okay. Next question is, I think that has been answered, but does MProfit cover derivatives transactions? Absolutely. We also do support FNO as a separate category in MProfit. We'll do a separate webinar on FNO. The reason why we didn't cover it today is because in the interest of time, there was a lot to cover. But more on that separately. But you can definitely upload your FNO transaction statements to MProfit, get your PNL and track your active FNO positions. We do provide live pricing for FNO stock FNO assets as well. Next question is, how do I incorporate out of market deals? So I think this question is about how do you manage off market entries. This is a very great question, and we wanted to talk a little bit about that. If let's say you're trading with a broker today, and you were previously trading with someone else before, and you had to transfer some shares from one broker to the other. When you download the transaction file from your current broker and import it to MProfit, you will not see the off-market transfer in the same transaction file. That is something which you need to upload separately, and typically that is something which people face a challenge with. What we do in MProfit is we try to make this simple by allowing you to download the transaction history from both your brokers. So let's say you were trading with Sher Khan before, and now you're a Zerodha customer, and you moved your shares from Sher Khan to Zerodha. We allow you to download and import your Sher Khan trade history, and you can also import your Zerodha trade history. And if you're managing both in the same portfolio, then there's nothing you need to do about that. But if you don't have access to your older Sher Khan back office login, what you can do is you can add an off-market entry in MProfit, an off-market buy or an off-market sell with the cost of purchase and the date of purchase details. And once you've done that, your opening balances will definitely be updated. And from an XIRR and a capital gain standpoint, also, you will then have made sure that your transactions are accurately imported. Because if you don't import the accurate date of purchase and the cost of purchase for the off-market transaction, chances are that your XIRR might not be correct. So to make sure that your XIRR is correct, you should try to get the original cost and date details for the off-market buy or the off-market sell, and upload it to MProfit. We definitely have the feature for you to do that. Hope that answers the question. Next question is, can we import all transactions together in the cloud version? I think we just need a little more clarity here. When you say all transactions, if you're saying that you want to import all transactions since inception till date for one broker, it depends on the broker. Some brokers allow you to download your transactions year-wise. So, there are brokers like HDFC, for example, where you will download your historical transaction file year-wise, and you will be able to upload it to MProfit. If you are a Zerodha customer, who is uploading the data for the first time using the Zerodha API, you can get all your transactions at all your historical trades together, and you'll be able to seamlessly auto sync them in MProfit using the API. So it totally depends on the broker whether it's going to be all transactions in one file or year-wise files. We support import depending on how the brokers are outputting the report. And if you have any additional questions about this, please feel free to reach out to us at support@mprofit.in. We have a dedicated data team that focuses on building integrations with all of these different brokers. The templates that you see in MProfit, they are built by the data templates team, and they will definitely be able to help you import the right file with the right template in MProfit. For mutual funds, just to clarify, the cash statement will provide you the entire list of historical transactions in one file from CAMS Online. So the process which we explained for mutual funds, you can definitely get your historical mutual fund transactions all in one file. The next question is, putting liquid fund REITs under stocks distorts asset allocation. A great question here, and a very valid point that showing REITs and liquid funds ETFs under the stocks category is not ideal, and that is something that we are addressing now. If you look at the new dashboards today, the app.mprofit.in, the new features we've launched, we are providing real asset allocation views to you in the new, and we'll definitely cover this in more detail. Currently in the current app, the way it is built is that ETFs are reported under the stocks and ETFs category. So we do take your point, duly noted, that ETFs should not technically be part of that from an asset allocation standpoint. So for those who want to get a holistic asset allocation view across equity, debt, retirement products, gold, international products, we have launched this new view in the new dashboards. You can go to app.mprofit.in and go to the holdings view there, and you will be able to see your asset allocation sorted by equity, debt, retirement products, gold. So gold will include your gold bonds, will include gold as an asset. Your equity will include only equity ETFs, equity mutual funds, private equity, and stocks. Your debt will include your debt mutual funds, your traded bonds. It'll include your debt ETFs. So we have built this new feature in the new dashboards. In our current app, from an asset allocation standpoint, stocks and ETFs are combined, but in the new app, you will be able to see those views separately. You'll be able to see both views. You'll be able to see the current MProfit view as well as the real asset allocation view sorted by the actual asset class, which is equity, debt, gold, or retirement. Retirement will include your NPS and other solution oriented funds and other retirement focused products. So definitely this is an evolving requirement, and we are definitely working to update it. But at the moment, you can see it in the new app. The next question is, for the first time, import NSDL, cash report, complete the shares and MF import both together, or we have to do separately from HDFC, ICICI. Shares and mutual fund imports have to be done completely differently. NSDL, one very important thing to note here is that the NSDL e-cash should not be used to import stock transactions. DMAT statements, NSDL cash statements, CDSL cash statements do not provide you your stock transactions. They might provide you DMAT transfer in, transfer out entries, but what is missing is the critical buy price, sell price, date of purchase, cost of acquisition. Those details are missing in the DMAT statements, in the NSDL statements for stocks. So for stocks, you have to use the broker's back office files. For mutual funds, you have to use the CAMS online cash file. And for auto import for stocks, you use the contract notes, the daily contract notes. And auto importing on a regular basis for mutual funds, you can set up the forwarding rule for the NSDL eCash. Because if you look at your NSDL eCash statement, you will see that the NSDL eCash statement only provides you monthly transaction details for mutual funds. It does not provide you monthly accurate transaction details for stocks. This is a very common misconception, but you can check your NSDL cash right now. You can check DMAT statements right now. You will not see the accurate transaction details. Those are found only in trade detail statements. So I hope this is very clear. Next question is, can we see XIRR for any specific stock? Yes, by all means you can. We have shown that as part of the demo. I think this has been covered already, but you can hover on the current value for any particular stock, and you will be able to see the XIRR for that stock. In the new dashboards also, you can see XIRR since inception in the performance views, and you can also see period-wise returns for any particular stock. The next question is XIRR from date to date. How do we get this? Has again been discussed. Period-wise XIRR is provided in the new dashboards features. The next question was about how do I import incremental mutual fund transactions once the one-time upload is done. Great question again, and again it has been answered. Once you have imported your cash statement from CAMS Online for the historical transactions on an incremental basis, you can do one of two things. One is either you set up the auto forwarding rule for the NSDL or the CDSL e-cash statement, so that on a monthly basis your SIP transactions or any mutual fund transactions can stay up to date. Second option, if you are a more regular trader, is you can request the cash statement, the same cash statement that you use for historical. You can request that same cash statement for your mutual funds on an incremental basis also by just changing the time period. And once you change the time period and uploaded and requested the file, it'll come to you in an email. You can set up a forwarding rule if you want, so that every time it comes to your email, that file gets forwarded directly to your MProfit account, and the file is updated, and the import is done. Excuse me. I hope that answers the question. There were talks about the next question is there were talks about building comparative benchmark analysis. Please update on that. Very great question. This has been launched again in the in the beta of the new features. If you go to the performance view, you will be able to see how any particular portfolio or any particular asset class or asset is doing against any set of different benchmark indices that we have provided to you. You can view 1 year, 2 year, 5 year returns benchmarked against a particular index as well. You can also view financial year wise returns for any particular stock or asset or portfolio, and view how comparatively it is faring against any benchmark index. So these are new features launched. You can try them out, and yeah, I hope these are useful to you. The next feature, can we maintain 3 to 4 persons? Yes, definitely. MProfit is made for you to manage data for your entire family. It is not only about your individual usage. We allow you to create a family in MProfit, and within the family, you can create multiple individual portfolios. So that is a very useful feature for you to be able to consolidate investments for all your different family members in one place, and then also get consolidated family group level insights and individual level insights. So that's a very good question. That's very much supported in MProfit. Next question is, we do receive CDSL ECAS. So can we set up auto import? Definitely. The same way as we have explained about NSDL, it depends on which of the two depositories you're registered with, CDSL or NSDL. So if you are registered with CDSL and you're receiving the CDSL ECAS, you definitely can set up auto import by following the steps in the application for the CDSL ECAS statement, and you will be able to set up the monthly auto forward for the same. If you have more detailed questions about this, please feel free to reach out to us. Our support team will be happy to guide you with this. Next question is how to set up portfolio mapping having the same trader but different portfolio under the family group. I believe this question is about how to set up the same portfolio mapping for different portfolios for the same file. That's a little more technical, and just so that we need a little more clarity on that. So if you could elaborate a little more on the question and email it to us, we'll be happy to answer you separately. But typically speaking, you for any particular import in MProfit, the first time when you upload a file, MProfit will ask you to map it to a particular portfolio so that it preserves the mapping for future imports. We typically take the name or the PAN in the file and we map it against a portfolio name in MProfit, and we preserve that for future imports so that you don't need to map your data again and again. and every single file obviously has a unique client identifier, a client code. And so if you're a Zerodha customer and a Sharekhan customer and you're importing both files to MProfit, the first time you upload the files, you'll have to map the name in the Zerodha file to the name in the in MProfit, and the name in the Sharekhan file to the name in MProfit. That's how portfolio mapping typically works. It's a one-time step only. The next question is, if in a contract note there are stocks and traded bond transactions together, will MProfit put them respectively under stocks and traded bonds on its own? Absolutely. We automate this. If you have stock and traded bond transactions in the same contract note, and the ISIN details are provided for the asset, or there is a unique code like a BSE code, NSE code, or ISIN for the asset, it will get automatically imported and directed to the right category, whether it is a stock or it is a traded bond. The next question, a very important one which hasn't been covered yet, is can you please talk about PMS? Great question from Vinayji. You definitely can manage your PMS holdings in MProfit. This is typically a feature used by HNIs to manage PMSs such as your Alchemy, White Oak, Marcellus, and MProfit today supports the import of PMS transaction statements from a majority of the PMS providers out there. So if you are investing in PMS products, you can definitely use the PMS templates in MProfit to import your PMS transactions. They typically provide you monthly or quarterly transactions, and those statements can be uploaded to MProfit. If you need more clarity on PMS, please reach out to us at support@mprofit.in. We'll be happy to set up a support session for you to help you navigate the PMS import process. The next question is, where can we select goal-based assets? Great question. We have added a feature for goal and strategy tracking in MProfit where you can add a goal or strategy portfolio, and you can then add transactions to those goal and strategy portfolios so that you can track your holdings goal and strategy wise as well. Please bear with us. We'll do a separate session on some of these advanced features because it will take a little more time. There are online guides at help.mprofit.in where you can see how the goal and strategy tracking feature works. Tanmay or Rishabh, you can just share that on the chat here, the help center guides for goal and strategy tagging. But we will cover this in the future. We will be doing more webinars now, so we will be covering this again on a separate webinar. I think the next question is about PPF. Please talk about it. Tanmay, I'll let you just talk a little bit about PPF.
Yeah, sure. So we do support PPF tracking in MProfit. You can simply go to our EPFO portal, Employees Provident Fund Organization portal. It's a government portal. We have a help desk post available for that as well, which you can refer. So you can generate the statement since inception till date, and you can directly import that into MProfit. So you can easily track all your, you can easily import your past transactions, historical transactions into MProfit.
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
The next question is, how do we capture gifting of shares to relatives? Tanmay, you can cover this also.
Yeah, so this is very much possible in MProfit. We have a functionality called transfer in. Okay, so let's say if there can be two different cases. One is if you are maintaining both the portfolios in MProfit, then you can simply use transfer functionality where you can transfer certain shares from one portfolio to another portfolio. This can be one use case. Second case can be if you're not maintaining a particular portfolio who is gifting the shares to you, but you are maintaining your portfolio in MProfit. In that case, you can simply add this gift of share as an off-market transaction. So yes, the gifting of shares can be managed in MProfit.
And for people who want, guidance, in-app guidance on how to do this, we will be doing webinars, in the future on these specific other asset classes also. So I think that gets us to the end of the popular questions. There are many other questions we have received, but in the interest of time, it's 5:30 already. What we would like to do is we'll definitely reconvene on the next webinar where we'll tell you the agenda beforehand. And for some of these questions, we'll definitely try to. I think we've tried to answer some of the questions directly in the chat. But for some of the questions where we have not been able to do that, we will try our level best to respond to you as soon as possible. And if you would like to share the same query to us on email, that will also be really appreciated if you feel like your question has not been answered. But just wanted to say uh, thank you all so much for joining this webinar. Uh, we are really thankful to all of you for your support. And this was the first webinar. We had some IT issues here. There were some connection problems. We will figure this out, and we thank you for your patience through it all. We will be doing more of these, and we're really looking forward to a similar turnout. We had over 700 people here today, and on a Saturday afternoon, that is just, we're truly honored to have all of you. Hope this was helpful, and we'll be getting into more advanced webinars as we go forward. So thank you all so much for your time, and we really appreciate it.